What's going on, guys? JSGC here, back again for another football video, where today we're going to be doing my Premier League predictions ahead of match day number 33 in the Premier League. So before I do crack on with this video, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, do subscribe to my channel. It is free to subscribe. Also, don't forget social media links, they're in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget as well to leave your thoughts in the comments below, including your score predictions for this Premier League match day, and also don't forget as well to leave a thumbs up. So before I do crack on with this Premier League prediction, do make sure, like always, to go and check out today's video sponsor, which is brought to you by SofaScore. SofaScore are going to keep you guys up to date with all the latest football scores from around the ground, so keep you up to date with all the latest match information, along with the latest statistics, the latest team news, and all your good footballing needs, all in one place, all in one app. It's not just limited to football scores and information, it's got you guys covered for all the sports that you guys love to follow, all in one place, all in one app. It's a free app to download and very highly rated and worthwhile checking out, and anyone that does download using my link in the description or the QR code on screen does help to support the future content created here on my channel. So just having a very brief look at match day number 32. Not a bad performance from me, to be honest. 2 correct scores, 3 correct results and 5 incorrect. Graded myself a 5 out of 10. So having a look on the 12th of April, Manchester City took on Crystal Palace. Had that down to 2-1 Manchester City win and breaking the good form of Crystal Palace. Manchester City went 2-0 behind but managed to come back and score 5 goals to win that game by 5 goals to 2 and a big 3 points for Manchester City. I had Brighton down as 3-0 winners against Leicester City. That finished 2-2 and a good point on the road for Leicester City, but they're going to be relegated very soon. But still a decent point there, and Brighton dropping a couple of points. Nottingham Forest against Everton, had that down as a 2-1 Forest win, and thanks to a 94th minute winner, Everton managed to pick up a really big 3 points, and now Nottingham Forest are left looking over their shoulders when it comes to that exciting race for Champions League football for next season. And Aston Villa added to that, might have been 0-0 away from home against Southampton at half-time, but managed to score 3 unanswered goals in the second half, as that finished 3-0, and I got that one correct, and also managed to get Arsenal-Brentford correct. Went with a 1-1 draw with Arsenal, maybe just having one eye on the Champions League game against Real Madrid. I thought that Brentford were going to make themselves very difficult. They're a good team, a very organised team. Always going to be a difficult game, both home and away, and yeah, Brentford managed to take a really good point off Arsenal, as Liverpool once more make big strides towards being Premier League champions, because on the Sunday Liverpool managed to beat West Ham by 2-1. I had that down as a 1-0 win for Liverpool, so weren't too far away with that. You also had on Sunday Chelsea against Ipswich. I had that down as a 2-0 Chelsea win, 2-2, and some points there, crucial points dropped by Chelsea. How costly could that be come the end of the season when it comes to potential European football, and whether Chelsea may be playing in the Champions League or the Europa League or the Europa Conference League? We'll have to wait and see. Wolves against Spurs, I said it was a bit unpredictable. I went with a 1-1 draw. That finished 4-2 to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Doesn't surprise me that they've picked up a big 3 points there, and that's near enough them safe in the Premier League. And then the final game on Sunday, you had Newcastle taking on Manchester United. You had that down to 2-1 Newcastle win. That finished 4-1 to Newcastle, as Newcastle continue to go from strength to strength, also winning their game in hand on Wednesday by 5-0 against Crystal Palace. That's 10 goals conceded by Crystal Palace, as they'll be bidding to try and get back to winning ways, as it looks like when they were in form, these 2 games that they had away from home against Manchester City and Newcastle were going to defy their Premier League season. It looks like they're not going to be getting European football through the league next season, so all focus for them will now be on the FA Cup. Now on Monday you had AFC Bournemouth taking on Fulham. I had that down as a 1-1 draw. That finished 1-0 to Bournemouth, as they've got back to winning ways and still got a chance of getting European football through their league finish, so we'll see what does happen. Now moving on to Premier League match day number 33. On Saturday 19th of April 2025, you've got Brentford taking on Brighton, all 3 p.m. kickoffs BST here. So Brentford against Brighton, I've gone with a 2-1 Brentford win. I think they'll be too strong for Brighton, and I'm going for 3 points there for Brentford. Crystal Palace against AFC Bournemouth. I mentioned the importance of Palace trying to find some form. Conceding 10 goals in 2 games isn't good. It means that Crystal Palace now got to try and get back to winning ways ahead of their game against Aston Villa next weekend at Wembley in that FA Cup semi-final. So I'm going for Palace to do that. Got good preparation for that game against AFC Bournemouth. There is the potential it could be 3 losses in a row for them, but I'm going Palace to win that game by 2-1. To Goodison Park, Manchester City visit for the last ever time. I'm going 1-1 for this one because I'm not too sure what's going to happen. It's a difficult away game for Manchester City, and difficult away games against organised teams normally means that Manchester City are going to struggle in that game. And Everton in very good form. I think they've unbeaten, I think, in 11 of the last 12 games in all competitions. But they're looking really smart and a very difficult team to beat, so I'm going for that theme to continue. I think if this was maybe at the Etihad Stadium, City have looked sharper in the second half of the season. I reckon City might have edged this game. At Goodison Park, I think Everton will be well up for it. It's Everton's last game at Goodison Park against the traditional Big Six Premier League team, so I can see them taking points off Manchester City, to be honest. So I'm going for a 1-1 draw, so points dropped for Manchester City. I'm going West Ham to beat Southampton by 2-0. I think they'll be too strong for Southampton. And then in the final game on Saturday at 5:30pm BST, with the game being broadcast live on Sky Sports, got a big game at Villa Park. Aston Villa taking on Newcastle. Newcastle finding all kinds of form. I'm going to go as far to suggest that Newcastle win that game at Villa Park. That for me is them making Champions League football for next season. So a really big game this for Aston Villa, who've got to turn up and put in a good performance. They put in a really good performance against PSG midweek. How tired are they is the question. A really big, brutal game in the Premier League for Aston Villa, and it gets no easier because on Tuesday night they've got an away game against Manchester City as well. So some crucial Champions League football games when it comes to qualification anyway, happening over the next few days. On to Sunday, you got Fulham taking on Chelsea in a West London derby. I'm going for Fulham to edge that game, and another blow for Chelsea's Champions League bid for next season, going Fulham to edge that by 2-1. To Portman Road, Arsenal I imagine will be rotating again. They'll be very tired from their Champions League game against Real Madrid. They've got the job done against them. They're through to the semi-final. They can start moving their focus towards PSG, but in the meantime they're not going to want Liverpool to be handed the Premier League title over the coming 7 days. So I think it's going to be operation to try and delay for Arsenal. I think they'll pick up a win against Ipswich by 2-0, and another nail in the Ipswich relegation coffin. And then to Old Trafford, Manchester United taking on Wolves at 2pm BST. I think United will be too strong in the end. I'm going for a 3-1 win for them against Wolverhampton Wanderers. And the final game on Sunday, Leicester City against Liverpool at 4:30pm BST. With the game being broadcast live on Sky, I think that Liverpool will be too strong for Leicester, and I'm going for a 2-0 Liverpool win. Final game on Monday, you've got Tottenham Hotspur taking on Nottingham Forest. I'm going for Nottingham Forest to drop points as well, going with a 1-1 draw. That game kicking off at 8pm BST, with the game being broadcast live on Sky. I can see Spurs maybe taking some points off Nottingham Forest, to be honest. Nottingham Forest, it's really interesting time for them now. They've got some question marks. They're looking over the shoulder. There's the potential of teams around them picking up and going over them, with them under pressure, playing that extra game. So how they're going to cope with that pressure, and how they're going to cope in a difficult away game at Tottenham Hotspur, they're the big questions. Forest want Champions League football. They've got to go to Spurs. They've got to win. So we will see. And then 2 more games happening, because Premier League match day number 34 isn't going to have as many games. So I'm not going to include that as part of my predictions, but I've just included them as bonuses. So Tuesday night, Manchester City are taking on Aston Villa at 8pm BST, with the game being broadcast live on Sky Sports. And again, I'm going for Manchester City to drop points. I think it's definitely a do not lose kind of game, and I think Aston Villa will be really keen just to get through Newcastle and Manchester City kind of unscathed, and see where they lie, see where they're going from there. So there might just be some work for Manchester City to do for the final 4 games of the Premier League season for them, because away games against Everton and a home game against Aston Villa, looking at the schedule, I think they're the 2 difficult games. So if City can pick up 4 points from that, I think they'll be delighted. If they get 6 points, that would be them in the Champions League for me. I'm going for them to be unbeaten, not losing either of them games, but not winning them either, and just keeping things very interesting. And the other game on Wednesday, you got Arsenal against Crystal Palace. I'm going for Arsenal to win that game by 2-1. And I'm saying that because I think Crystal Palace will end up rotating a bit ahead of that FA Cup semi-final game on Saturday. So I'm going Arsenal to edge that game by 2-1. Arsenal must be feeling a lot of fatigue for the season roundabout now, with that game taking place at 8 p.m. BST, with the game being broadcast live on Sky Sports. So they are my Premier League predictions. Do let me know your Premier League predictions in the comments below. Do leave it a thumbs up on the video, that would be much appreciated. Subscribe as well if you're new around here. Press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. It is free to subscribe. Social media links, they're in the description as well if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. And finally, do go and check out today's video sponsor, which is brought to you by SofaScore. And I'll see you all again real soon for the next video. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.